Selamat siang. Oh, selamat sore. Yeah. So, yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, everyone, and who already joined this meeting through offline and online. Thank you for joining the session hosted by Sustainable Spices Initiative Indonesia, or later I will mention it as SSI Indonesia, with the title of Cross-Sector Collaboration through Research, Multi-Stakeholder Platform, and Business for Resilient and Equitable Global Spices Supply Chain. First, let me introduce myself. As a moderator, I am Sinta. I'm the head of Secretariat of SSI Indonesia. And I will try to host this meeting. And I hope your active participation in this discussion, because we hope that this will be a lot of discussion, not only one-way communication. Second, on behalf of SSI Indonesia, I would like to thank the winner conference 2025 for this opportunity for us to come here and join with the session talking about the transdisciplinary collaboration for sustainability, and a topic that we believe is very important to work in this era. So shortly, SSI Indonesia is a multi-stakeholder platform. So we will cover those topics from three different perspectives: from the academic, business practice, and the platform itself. So we'll have this whole view of transdisciplinary practices. All topics will be delivered by our members who are already here with us, and we welcome you for any questions and insights to liven up the discussions later. Since our time is limited, we will just start this session with our first speaker, Bapak Angga. No, the Bapak Angga Dwi Artama, an associate professor at School of Life Sciences and Technology, Bandung Institute of Technology. He will explore the penta-helix concept, followed by research findings related to industry needs with a focus on spices sector. Time is yours, Pangga.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Bu Sinta, for the introduction. And so, my name is Angga. I'm from the School of Life Sciences and Technology at the Institute of Technology, Bandung. And today, I will be presenting one part of the, as Bu Sinta said, a triad of different perspectives of transdisciplinarity and multi-stakeholder model or platform. So the title of my presentation is how we can build a multi-stakeholder model for sustainable spice value chain, because that's what we are here in the Sustainable Spice Initiatives Indonesia, and some of the potentials and challenges. So next slide, please. So there will be three parts of this short presentation. The first part about the prospects of spices, which then will be continued on with the move towards sustainability and some of the challenges and potentials of multi-stakeholder approach in this context of sustainable spice value chain. Next slide. Again, a bit of introductions of myself. I'm from the management of biological resources. So even within my own research group, this is a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary research group where we combine different approaches from biology, ecology, we have economy, and we have social sciences as well. And my research particularly focuses on resilience and sustainability of agri-food systems, which I will try to explain later on value chains and sustainable livelihoods. Next slide, please. So I guess the more important thing is to understand why spices are important, particularly in Indonesia. We know that more than half of spices in the world originate in Indonesia. We have 30,000 varieties of species of spices alone in the Moluccas, not to mention in different islands in Indonesia. And we have an export value of more than 600 million US dollar. And we are targeting towards more, like a more than double increase of export value in 2024. I don't know whether we've reached that. Probably Andro can explain better about that. In the next slide, we can see how Indonesia has been focusing a lot or try to focus on um, raising the value and the reputations and promoting spices through our consulate general in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have some of our key spices. We have nutmegs, peppers. We are one of the top 10 uh, exporting countries of these different spices, but we also have challenges. So in the next slide, um, we understand that there are many problems along the way. Um, the majority of spices in Indonesia are produced by smallholders, and this invites challenges in itself, because when we try to increase productivity or increase productions, it's not as easy as, say, palm oil, where one coordinating body, one enterprise can implement many different innovations. With smallholders, you actually have to translate this type of innovations and knowledge into something that's more practical. So that's one challenge. Another challenge is that um, for these smallholders, spices are seen as secondary, or what we call investment crops. You invest in spices, and you proceed your lives with the daily productions of horticultures, for instance, or rice, or poultry, or anything. So you know that you have investment in your backyards with nutmegs and cloves, for instance, but you don't do anything about it. And that's some of the more typical way of managing spices. Some of these spices are also within their over their productive age. So back then, when we talk about spices, but also we talk about coffee or cocoa, we are benefited from what we call forest rent. So we extract this nutrition and resources from the forest, and we rely on that. And we sort of think that, oh, Indonesia is a very fertile, has a very fertile soil. But apparently, we're actually relying on what's left in the forest. In the end, it will deplete it, and we rarely we've rarely done anything about it, and so that's another problem. We have problems with pests and diseases and climate change, particularly today, and we also rely on conventional value chains that actually give so little to the farmers, and so that's, I guess, one of the reasons why I'm really excited to be within this sustainable spice initiatives in Indonesia, is because we actually try to do something about our value chains. We have price fluctuations and some of the challenges of exporting spices, particularly with aflatoxins, for instance, have become a big issue in the industry. Next. So that's why we need to embrace this something that we call sustainable food systems or sustainable value chains. So we talk about sustainability all across the value chains. We don't only talk about sustainability at the farm level, but we also talk about sustainability during the whole process of post-harvest, of distributing, even of consuming spices. So this is one of the approach that we want to take, and it sort of um, interconnected with not only the industry itself, but also in the bigger sort of context of economy, with the broader society, with smallholder farmers, with many different small scale industries. So this is what we try to embrace, and to translate this in our platform is a challenge in itself. During our 2023 meeting, Pak Andro, if you remember, we've tried to map some of the issues that we face within this sustainable spice value chain. And next slide, please. Um, we know that there are a lot of them. So if we try to divide sustainability through different perspectives of or different sort of dimensions, we know that we have problems of sustainability at the supply chain side of it. We have problems in terms of productions. We have problems in terms of farmers themselves, and we have problems with innovations. And there are many, many different topics for research that we can sort of think that we as an academics can dig deeper into. So these are actually some of the potentials of doing research within the scope of sustainable spices. And so yeah, we can sort of see, we can sort of talk about global value chain, we can talk about sustainable livelihood. We did, we have a lot of discussions about living income benchmark. If you've come across that concept, it's actually quite interesting concept. We also talk about agroecology, regenerative agriculture. We talk about post-harvest technology, valorizations. We talk about waste and many other different aspects of this research. So when it comes when seeing this from an academic perspective, there are actually a lot of potentials. Next. And so what we try to do, yes, of course, we can talk about research collaborations, but what we try to offer here, particularly in my university in ITB, is we try to move away from just a research university. The motto of our rector, our current rector, is fourth generation university, and it's a relatively new concept even for us. There is this distinctions between the first, the second, the third, and fourth generation university. In the first generation university, we only talk about education, so how we can, you know, produce alumni that have certain qualities, right? In the second generation, we talk about educations and research, and over the past few years, I guess we've been talking a lot about the third generation university. We have to do research that can benefit the industry, but all of these discussions sort of talked in a more top-down kind of approach. So we have these innovations, we want to offer them to the industry, even though the industry itself never really wants that kind of innovation. So there has been studies about how like the proportion of innovations that got adopted by the industry, and the numbers of circles around 10% of total innovations. We have a lot of critics on how many patents that we built that actually being used, and it's really really small. So with the fourth generation university, we actually try to change our way of thinking. We, instead of creating innovation from top down, we want to actually build an ecosystem of innovations. We understand that innovation doesn't come necessarily from the university. The industry itself has its own challenge, and they have their own way of doing research, right? Pa Andre just told me about one innovation that's really interesting that we've never really thought about it. And I think it's really important to do that. But in order to do that, we need to move from being an interdisciplinary institution to a more transdisciplinary. And transdisciplinary is something that's actually quite complex and quite quite sophisticated itself. With transdisciplinary, we have to understand the different languages that we speak. So, I mean, when it comes to university, we talk about publications, right? We talk about Q1 or Q2, but for the industry, it's not important. What's important is actually how that innovation can bring profit, can be transformed into a monetary value. So this is the challenge in itself. Next slide. And even more complex is that we don't only talk about collaborations between industry and university, but we also need to talk about the policy. We need to talk about how the community can benefit and how they can play an active role in that. So with Sustainable Spices Initiatives, what I like about it is that we work not only between industry and academics, but also with the communities. We want to hear more about what they need and what they can do to help. And this is the challenge. I mean, we really need to hear your inputs about how we can actually build this in a more effective way. Next. So, next slide, please. So some of the types of collaborations, in addition to the types of research that we've done between industry and university, we've actually tried to, from our perspective, from the academic perspective, we try to translate some of this complex and scientific information into something that's um, more easily understandable by the industry. So with Bu Sinta, with Pa Andro, we try to, for instance, build this sort of like a guidebook or a framework of sustainable spice profile and some of the things that we need to be aware of within the whole value chain. Another example of these types of out-of-the-box collaborations is in the next slide, please. Um, we we try to collaborate with the media. So we work together with the Pulitzer Center. They have different journalists. They support us with methods of investigative journalism. We work with some of the companies within SSI Indonesia. And so our students went to the field and they did a bit of field work to map the whole value chain and understand some of the challenges and try to build this very informative diagrams of different value chains of different spices commodities. Next, I think this is my last slide. So what are the challenges? We think that there are a lot of potentials, of course, and we try to see these types of collaborations beyond research. So we want to make to build an ecosystems of innovations, including through inspiring students, teachers, relying on different sources of information, of inviting some of the practitioners as a guest lecturer in our place, and co-learn, building a co-learning environment. However, we also find some of the largest challenges would be how we can meet each other's expectations. We have different KPIs, we have different languages, and we have different pace of work. So, I mean, with university, we do like the shortest research that we can do probably around a year. We probably have a multi-year types of research, but with the industry, they actually kind of need fast-paced types of research, and this is a challenge in itself. So I think that would probably be my our perspectives on that, and I would really welcome the next presenters to talk in the different perspectives. So thank you, Bu Sinta. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Panga, for presenting about the perspective from the academia. Of course, we are very happy to have this opportunity to voice out what we are currently doing as SSI Indonesia. So yeah, it's a very, how to say that? It's a very we hope that this will be a very fruitful discussion with us. And after, from the academic perspective, I would like to call the next speaker, Ibu Desi Yuliana. She is also one of our members, founder of PT Sinar Hijau Venture and Chief Executive Officer of PT Carbon X Bumi Harmony. She will share about the sustainable business practices. So in spices particularly, and also the challenges, which can be a good exploration of collaboration between Indonesia and Netherlands. Please, Bu.
Thank you, Sinta. Thank you for the organizer and the opportunity for PT Sinar Hijau Venture to share the perspective of private sectors. We already heard the perspective of academia. I think we share the same challenges, yeah, opportunities, and probably we need to discuss a solution. Okay, let's just start the presentation. So yeah, in Sinar Hijau, maybe I will just start the presentation by introducing what is Sinar Hijau. Next slide. So, Sinar Hijau we established in 2021. We are social enterprises. We focus, we quite niche. We are partnering with farmers group that manage social forestry or customary forests. Yeah. So this group is mostly indigenous people. They already grow spices like since their forefathers, and the forest for them is their forest inherited by their forefathers. Yeah. So we work with these communities, and since this is a forest communities, they have a limited access because the infrastructure is difficult. You know, Maluku is island province. The logistic is inherently difficult, and they have limited access to market. Our solution is to provide that market with fair and transparent pricing. Yeah, that's brief about Sinar Hijau. Next. So our journey started in Maluku, of course. Spices is in Maluku, yeah. And you know the spices from Maluku already travel around the globe. We are colonized because of spices. However, this community that already grow these spices still live. Yeah, their prosperity is still low. Yeah. And that is because they capacity building on harvest and post harvest because of their location again, and there's a market barriers that pressurize this community to sometimes sell their products for low prices. Yeah. Next. So this is the Sinar Hijau solutions that with four pillar of inclusive supply chain model, where we are partnering with forest farmer, as I mentioned before, and then build market access in Maluku, in Seram Island specifically. We already signed more than 15 with 15 farmers group, yeah, with fixed price, what kind of commodity, what kind of grade, that we already have a agreement on what kind of price they will get. So they will know like up and down depends on the market condition. Yeah. So the farmers already have an expected value of their harvest. And then we also train and incubate farmers. We apply a grant with Solidaridad in NGO. Yeah, Solidaridad also has a focus on commodity and increasing the capacity of farmers. So we build series of program to improve harvest and post harvest in farmers group that we are a partner with. And then the last one is establishing local hub because it's far away. The forest is far from Ambon, for example. So that's why we establishing a local hub where we can buy or aggregate our processing facility to buy from different forest area. Yeah. And so it's closing the market to the farmers. So that's the solutions. We already established one, our pilot hub in Westerham, which is in Peru. And in Westerham, they already have maybe more than 40 social forests. Yeah, and that totaling around 40,000 hectares of forest. It's only in Westerham alone, not all over Seram. Yeah, so you can imagine the potential. Next. yeah, though we have those solutions, we still find a lot of challenges. Yeah, we still faced with post-harvest losses. Not easy to change the mindset of the farmers. Yeah, they're still drying the products on sun drying on the ground. Also, sometimes if there's a rain season, they will dry using smoke. Yeah, and because of that practices, there's a high risk of contamination and aflatoxin. So around of we buy from farmers almost already 6 months now, almost up to 50% are downgraded, not ready for, it's not export quality. So only 50% is export quality. So it's still small. And then challenge number two, downstream processes, because Sinar Hijau, we don't want to stop just being a traders. We want to have also downstream or processing facility in local area, which is in Maluku. Yeah. However, as you know, building a processing is expensive. So there's a high investment cost. We need some research and development investment, and there's not enough human resources, yeah, at least in technical aspect. And then the challenge number three, Pak Angga already mentioned on climate change. I also experienced myself when we curing vanilla. So difficult. It's difficult to predict weather now. And we had an experience that we have 2 weeks non-stop of rain. Yeah. You can imagine when we're curing vanilla, non-stop of rain, then will attract mold so easy. Yeah. So that's a non-stop challenges for us, yeah, on the unpredictable weather. Next. And for SRV responses, we still, because changing a mindset, changing day-to-day practices, the farmers already done like centuries ago. It's not easy, so need to have a long-term process. Yeah, so we still continue the capacity building for farmers. We also do a pest management, yeah, with organic. They can find like organic ingredient to kill pests, and they didn't know. Yeah. So we train them to have a pest management, and then for unpredictable weather, we try to at least have a mini solar dryer uh, to each of farmer group. So at least if there's a rain, when they have to pick up their kids to school, they don't have to be worried. Yeah. So we have this solar dryer. It's cheap, simple, but effective. And then we have maybe later in next slide, we also have a partnership with various universities, yeah, to ensure as the next stage of SFA, we have a hilarisasi, yeah, the downstream facility. As also traceability and IoT, because our aim, our goal is to reach premium buyer. But if the logistic cost in Maluku that high, there's no way out. For us, is to reach a premium buyer, and traceability has become a necessity for this buyer. Next. This is the collaboration that we now done with academia, yeah, with Universitas Patimura, a local community, where we have an MOU to continue the capacity building for farmers. we have a series of training, sekolah lapang, the field school for farmers with University of Patimura. And then with Ibnu Khaldun in Bogor, we will have research on canary oil. Yeah. And with Universitas Sudirman, we will have research on nutmeg butter, as well as traceability, and they will engage Telkom to have IoT. So we have automations in our drying facility. Next. So based on our experience working with various partners, there's an NGO, academia, we feel that this is the institution, each entity has their own capacity, expertise, NGO focus on social and impact, which is also important for us. Academia, they have knowledge, they have technology, So we also need academia. Private sectors, we can do the applications and scalability, And we understand that we need research to drive value addition. If not, it's difficult. Yeah. And also technology. So we can have an effective automation to strengthen our quality and farmers empowerment. Next. What is for us next in a next action? First, we will continue to strengthen the research and innovations. In field, we always find the challenges, ada aja gitu. And then I think this is need discussions, That's why we need to strengthen the collaboration from NGO and academia. And then number 3, scale technology. That technology, the mini solar dryer, for example, is okay to put in a house, near the road. But most of the forest farmers that is partner with us, they are harvesting inside the forest where they need to stay a night. How to bring mini solar dryer? So there is need more innovation to the farmers where the solar dryer can be more mobile, And then inclusive growth, this is our heart of missions that we want to make sure that farmers also has the benefit, the economic value of their spices. And we hope that by enhancing their capacity building, they will have increased quality and then increase their income. So that's our missions for Sinar Hijau. Next. So that's our last slide. I just want to close that for us, because our motto is farmers to market. For us, it's just not about trading, but it's about connection. How to connect science to farmers, how to connect farmers to a global market. Thank you.
accelerate sustainable in the spices sectors in Indonesia. And those of our mission is to enhance the sustainability and efficiency of the spices supply chains and ensure the continuous production, supply, and profitability of spices, and also drive innovation in the spices industry and empower next generation of the leaders in the spices sector. Next. We have three working groups. The first working group is a social impact, where we try to work together to tackle all of issue in a social, like farmers' income, farmers' regenerations, and then we also tackle the regenerative agriculture issue, which is also very important at this moment, where we can see many uh, many problems we already create in a on farm because of uh, over fertilizer, over pesticides, and somehow it already damaged our soil. And then the market access. This is also very important because, like Budesi said, how we connect the farmers to the market through the connection, and then the fair trade, and also the transparency supply chains. This three working group, we expect through working group, we can improve the profile of the spices supply chains in Indonesia. Next, please. Then this is our profile. We are working in 20 different spices commodities in 12 area, and we already have more than 11 sustainability projects through our members. Uh, we have agroforestry, we have multi-crop models, we have supply chains models, and also sustainable landscape models that are currently under implemented by our members. And we have a connection to over 26,000 farmers throughout Indonesia. Next. Next, please. Okay, this is uh, uh, our project, our members located throughout Indonesia, from Sumatra up to Papua. In Sumatra, we have some spices: black pepper, white pepper, cassia, and then up to the vanilla, nutmeg in the eastern part of Indonesia. Next. So this is our members profile. Next. And what we are doing so far, we do some activities. We make engagement in a high level, working with the government. At this moment, we are collaborating to assist Bapenas in developing the roadmap of sustainability spices in Indonesia, from from upstream to downstream. And then we also have a webinar series on per topic, per tema, to give some insight to our members, and also for a broadened participant that it's also involving in spices sector. And we also built some model and guidelines regard to sustainability supply chains, and also a workshop and seminars in some topics. Next. This is our adaptive supply chain practices. As also already mentioned by Pak Angga, we have made a spices value change with ITB this year. And then we also have a pilot project to develop regenerative agriculture, and also to encourage young generation to go back to the farming This project is in Java. It's a small uh, small land of a half hectares where we exercise doing permaculture and also multi-crop spices and non-spices. The idea is to exercise through the organic approach that within the smallholder farmers, one farmers can generate their income and can live in a wealthy enough in a rural. So the idea is to encourage young generation not to go to the city, but try to do some agriculture exercise within their land. And lately, we just finished our spice risk assessment. Uh, this is also the assessment uh, 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 we we delivered to Bapanas to give some advice or to give some input to them in developing the sustainable spices roadmap strategy. Next. Next. Yes, this is what we've uh, this is what we've got in our risk assessment in Indonesia. We have 5 issues in environment risk in Indonesia at this moment. As you see in this presentation, we have a climate variability and extreme weather, and then poor adaptation capacity, uh, soil water management, deforestation and land use change, and waste mismanagement and pollution. So those 5 environment risks that is quite challenging in Indonesia in term at these uh, spices sectors. But I'm sure that this is not about the spices sector. This is the current issue in all agriculture issue in Indonesia. So this is very important for us uh, to work together to cope those environment issues so we can get the better solution and also a growing productivity in spices sector particularly, but in general in all agriculture products. Next. And this is the risk, the productive product, the quality and safety risk of spices product we got from our assessment, and the use of non-permitted pesticide and herbicide. It's everywhere in Indonesia, so it's uh, overwhelming. So over pollutant. So this is also very important for all of us here to understand that the global market are going to non-pesticide product in the future. So it's not very long. It's a short European market and American market working together to strengthening the minimum level of contamination, and nowadays it's become very strict. So in Indonesia, uh, this practice or this understanding it's very unaware. So many pesticide practices still very common in all sectors. In spices, for instance, it's very easy to find the spray everywhere for the peppers and then for other spices. But yes, as I said, this risk factor is something that we have to tackle if we still want to go to the international market. Then it's also we have the facility. It's in Indonesia we don't have uh, a good facility for a laboratory. So this is also very challenge for spices company in Indonesia because they have to deliver the sample to abroad just to get a test for some uh, for some requirement tests. Then the third one is traceability. Traceability is very challenging in Indonesia. The supply chain is very long in Indonesia, and this is also we need to work together with government, academia, and NGO how to improve the supply chain model, how to make it certain, how to make sure that farmers uh, got the transparent price over the whole supply chains. Next, please. Okay, this is our call to collaborative action through this event. So we from SSI Indonesia, we expect through this presentation, through this event, we can step into the more collaborative action in the future. The first is innovation and applied research. This is what we expect because we need academia to do a very uh, uh, a very detailed research and also a progressive research to improve all the issue in the spices sector in Indonesia. Then market strengthening. Yes, market strengthening have to be also collaborate together how we can get or we can uh, improve and we can get to the market access much better. But indeed, it have to be first we have to solve some traceability and quality of the product if we want to make the better access for Indonesian spices. Then youth empowerment. Youth empowerment, if we don't do this from start now on, then we don't have remaining farmers for the next 20 years. Means that we cannot produce spices for the next 20 years. Because why? Because farmers, they got the very last margin out of the whole supply chains. So we need to do something uh, from such improving the agriculture model from the conventional through organic, because through organic product they can get a premium price, and then through the organic to the fair trade, for instance, they can also get more premium, and then the transparent price. If we can improve that kind of model supply chain, farmers will encourage, yeah, to still working as a farmers. Then the last, we expect we can make a joint project and program in the future. Whatever program, well, we are very open because we have farmers, we have a company, we have market, we have issue, and we need more stakeholders to work together to help us, to help spicy sector Indonesia to grow in the future. That is all my presentation as SSI. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Dipos Nawarno Simanjuntak, for the presentation. So this is our last presentation for today. So I will open the first session of Q&A. I don't know if I will start with the offline attendee, please.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Maybe my questions is to Pak SSI.
Dipos, yeah.
Pak Dipos, okay. My first question is, do you have a hub in Bali in SSI? Because I think that the Bali has some agriculture potential that I don't see it in your map the hub in Bali? And the second question is, since the post-harvest management purpose is to guarantee people profit also for trading, how do you ensure the fairness in price to the farmers? Because I don't see it in your presentations about how do you guarantee this to the farmers. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. We don't have a hub yet in Bali because Bali is not very specific in the spices product in Indonesia. We hope we can have it in the future if there is a company doing the spices in Bali. For your next question, the second question is very interesting. Well, in SSI, as a platform, we encourage our members. Of course, we also assess our members that they need to do a different or improved supply chain model. So most of our members, I can say that they already have the structure of the supply chains. Even some of them still rely to, let's say, a middleman because it's not that easy to cut down the model. But like Budesi already explained, they also made a farmers group. The farmers group, it's also the group of farmers to sort on the supply chain model. The other company, they have a cooperative. So they built a farmers cooperative. Like I also in my company, we built two farmers cooperative that make sure that the role of the middleman is not so strong. So with that kind of model, we can talk or farmers can uh, inform and more transparent, yeah, to know the pricing. So that's the idea. In the future, we expect more and more company to implement that kind of model.
Thank you. I hope that answers your. Okay, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. It is very interesting presentations. I was wondering for the spices, do Indonesia has any kind of problem with the identifications of the origins of the spices? It's like in honey. Sometimes we get a problem to know the origins of the honey, whether it's from Indonesia or whether is it from China or other countries. For spices, especially the spices that harvested in the tropical regions, or perhaps it's kind of geographical origins of for the communal intellectual communal of the spices of the species. Do we have any experience on that, or do we have any problem with that?
Thank you, Bu Ruli. I think Pak Andro, Bu Desi could contribute as well. From my understanding, we haven't, I mean, we do have some issues with traceability, and I know that uh, so far the concerns of traceability in the supply chain of spices focuses particularly on food safety. So we have cases of aflatoxins, for instance, and so the downstream end of the industry needs to be able to trace where the contamination comes from. So that's one thing. Another thing is a way to provide incentives for farmers. So if we know that there are some spices with premium quality, we can develop a way to incentivize farmers that particularly produce them. So I guess the two issues are there. Some of our spices are also registered as part of geographical indications or GI. Vanilla from Alor, for instance. What else? Moontok white pepper. Lampung black pepper. There are quite few. And I know that, for instance, Bu Yayang could probably share more about how Verstegen, for instance, one of the companies, develop blockchain-based traceability. But in terms of, we usually just do that in packaging. So the traceability is done through registrations of each of the batch of productions. I don't think that we've our power cancer have particularly made some, sort of like isotope based, for instance, to trace origins of spices. To a more advanced types of technology. I don't think we do have that. But can you probably Bu Yayang?
Thank you, Pa Angga, to mention. Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself. I'm Yayang Fionita from First Nation Spices and Sauce. We are a spices company based in Netherlands. We have been purchasing spices from Indonesia since 1886, long a time ago. So, to add to what Pa Angga has explained about the traceability of the spices products, so within our company, now we are focusing more on the traceability of our product. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm too small. So I hope now I'm visible. Okay, so within our company, we are focusing more on the traceability of the product. As Panga mentioned before, we have blockchain project for Nutmeg. So we develop a system and also um, like barcode that our customer in the Netherlands, they can scan it on the products and they can trace back from which locations and which collectors, and also to be specific to which farmers this product comes from. So um, except for this is for the food safety reason, because then we can also easily trace if there is any problem with the product, aflatoxin or like foreign materials, or now what is famous is radioactive in spices. So then using the traceability system like blockchain, we can trace back and up to farmers level, who are the farmers, who are the producers, or if the problems happens in our supplier, we can also trace that. So then we can easily find the root cause and also uh, do the corrective actions. Beside that, we also use this blockchain and traceability system to incentivize our farmers. So if they are open to share the data about the plantation, where the location of the plant, where they planted, and then also the product, the quality of the product, and also their data, we will incentivize them uh, we call it premium price. So we add on top of the uh, base price that normally follow the market price with the incentive. So it's also win-win solution for farmers, because most of the time they have been doing the farming very well, following the standards and try to fit with our quality. But then if there is no incentive, what is the point? So that yeah, we so far um, we don't really have an issue with the traceability, because it helps us a lot. Mentioned before, we have nutmeg and also white pepper, muntak white pepper from Bangka. It also has the geographical indicators, also the Lampung black pepper. So that's what I can share a little bit about how we do the traceability system within our company.
Very beautiful insights. Thank you, Yayang, for sharing. I think the most difficult thing is to make sure that it's not mixed with something that we don't want to. And yeah, of course, blockchain is a quite huge investment. But of course, we still need to try finding more applicable ways, of course, for farmers in Indonesia. So that's why we start this kind of collaborative platforms. Okay, I think two questions, and one of the question from the online. Um, So the first one is about the land ownership. Yes, of course, yes. It's mentioned before that 90 up to 97% of land ownerships are owned by the smallholders. Okay. But agrarian reform is not yet fair. Okay, I think he wants to know about your opinion about this. So I think field practitioners, if Pak Angga have studies about this, you can share it. And the second one is about the replantation and seedlings. And the third one is about the UDR. Okay, please. I don't know, maybe.
I think I'm gonna try to address the second and the first and the third questions. The first one is actually quite problematic. I agree that agrarian reform is a challenge in Indonesia, and to rely. I mean, this is something that we need to to put on the government as a sort of like the source of power that can govern these kind of things. But what we try to do is actually to maintain what the farmers have with that small size of land. Um, and so we try to see how we can provide solutions without necessarily have to touch on that sensitive issue of land reform, which is, I mean, I totally agree that we need to have a better policy on these kind of things, but within SSI, I don't think we address that. In terms of UDR, so far spices have not been included in the UDR policy. There might be probably later, but as Budesi and Pak Andro can also mention that what's beautiful about spices is that it doesn't really need to destroy the forest. I mean, we can develop a form of agroforestry that is actually quite good for the spices. Yeah. So I guess that's my opinion about it.
Yeah, maybe just to add directly to number 3 first. So I hope that I think maybe this is also need voice of the association as well. Like as what SAV working on is to work with farmers at the edge of the forest, and we hope we can create narrative that this farmer is part of solution, not a problem. Yeah. So that need to be have a strong narrative. Yeah. And the practices of the farmers Pak Angga mentioned, they are doing agroforestry rather than like perkebunan or plantations like monoculture plantation. They in 1 hectare they have variety of products. Yeah, and this is already become their day-to-day practices for agroforestry. It's not something new for them. So after this narrative can be, we should work together to the international market that this kind of community, forest community, should be part of solutions, not a problem. And then, yeah, for seed replanting, I think that's it's just true as challenges, especially for spices like nutmeg. Farmers sometimes cannot differentiate between the female or male seed, yeah, and they need to wait for 5 years, or maybe more than 5 years, and then when they should produce a fruit, it's a male trees, and they already maybe plant 200 trees, only 10 trees that can produce a fruit. So this also need to be working together how to enhance capacity or have a technology. We have we train farmers for grafting, yeah, to ensure they can plant female seeds and can produce fruits. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Pak Andro.
Yeah, thank you. I can add a bit more. So the first two question is more to a government uh, aspect that we are working at this moment with Bapenas. That's what we expect through the document strategic built by Bapenas. Probably the seed issue, replanting issue, we expect to be tackled by government because as we know, it is not in the spices sectors, but in all sectors, seeds and replanting, it's very poor in Indonesia. Uh, you can experience or you know that lately we have a problem in coconut that the price of the coconut it's rocket hiking because of the export and then because the shortage of the harvest and it's also happened in spices so yes that's why we need to make some breakthrough together so government more aware about the seed and uh, fortunately the AUDR is not it's not including the spices into the AUDR. If it's already including spices, we have a big problem. We have a big problem because, like acacia, for instance, in Kerinci, mostly some farmers just go to the forest to cut the acacia and sell it. That's the fortune because AUDR only included uh, cacao and coffee at this moment. But we do agroforestry, like Budesi already mentioned, in most of area because smallholder farmers they used to do multi-crop and agroforestry. But some of the land, yes, still conflict to the forest land.
Okay, thank you, Pak Dipos Nalwar. I think the time is up, yeah? Or can I have one more? Okay. Okay, actually, I don't have any. So, thank you for three speakers here. And I, as a moderator, I can see the fruitful discussion between us. And I think we can get in touch longer further outside this room and you can really out visit us we are somewhere in Jakarta. Okay, and thank you for the audience for the active participation and Pa Andro, Pa Angga, and Bu Desi who come in person here, and we hopefully SSI Indonesia will continue this collaboration with anyone in this room or in join online. Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon.